Hola muchachos! I decided to surprise you all with an extra video this week. So this video subject is how my parents took me coming up to them. It all started in freshman year when I came out to my mother as bisexual. Initially, she did not take the news very well whatsoever. She actually told me to keep it a secret and not to tell anyone else, because it's not a secret you should be telling people. As you could tell, any teenager that comes out to their mother, parent, whatever, with news like that, hearing that is kind of going to cause a little flaw in the relationship. From grade 9 to present, I have come out to my mother numerous times. Later on, in about grade 10, late grade 10, I came out to my mother as transgender. I didn't initially say I was transgender, per se, but during an argument we were having, she did mention how I do dress like a boy, and then asked me, do you like being seen as a boy? I don't understand. I was heated, pissed off, and I had the courage to say it then, so I told her, yes, I do like being seen as a boy. Yeah, I do like when people mistake me for a boy. Mistake. During that fight, I also brought up the fact that I self-harm. She asked why. I said because I'm confused of my gender identity, and I feel like I'm a boy, but I'm not sure what to do. She basically ignored me saying I feel like a boy. She basically ignored what I said, and then continues to say, oh, well, other people have problems too. That kind of sucked. That's dumb. I then came out to my mother in grade 11, maybe grade 12, not sure. But again, we were having a fight, and I went upstairs because I said I didn't want to continue fighting with her. I was done talking. Well, she proceeds to come into my room not 10 to 15 minutes later, knocking, and asks if she can come in. I replied saying no. She came in anyways. She sat down on my bed and said, look, listen, I know that you're unhappy. Please tell me why. I want to understand this. I continue to talk to her about it, and I basically say the same thing. I feel like I'm a boy, and I'm not happy with my body. It feels alien to me. It's not something I picture myself. When I look in the mirror, it doesn't match what I should be seeing. She didn't understand that, so I tried to go away. She would understand. My mom has a fear of getting fat, as bad as it sounds. But I basically compared it to that. I said, what if one day you were to wake up 600 pounds and no matter what, you couldn't do anything to change that? She then proceeds to say that no matter what, you can do something to make yourself happier. That's when I brought up the subject of hormones and seeing doctors as well as therapists. She said, oh, you've been seeing a therapist behind my back? I said, yes. She asks, how long? I said about a few months, since I started working, basically. She asked me how I came up with the money, and I said, again, I'm working, I make money, I make a good amount of money, so I'm paying from my own pocket. From there, she says, okay, well, you know what? This is something that we're gonna have to work on, and in order for us to get past it, we have to compromise. I thought it was a little ridiculous that I have to compromise with my own mother about my own happiness. So, me being me, I didn't want to fight anymore. I said, sure. She then says, oh, no matter what, I'll always love and accept you. And then she says she loves me and leaves. A few days later, I get my hair cut. Boy, did she freak out when I got home. What happened was, it was accidentally cut too short in the back, so I had to go to the barbers to fix it. They ended up shaving the back and the sides of my head completely, and I ended up keeping the long part at the top. I was scared to death of my mother seeing my hair, as we compromised that I would not cut it shorter than this. So, I get home, I put up my hood, I keep it up. My mom eventually finds out something's off. She tells me to take my hood off. I take my hood off, she sees my hair, and she turns white and basically flips her shit. When I say flip her shit, I mean scream, cry, slam doors, break things. It wasn't a fun scene. A haircut. Hair grows back, and she's freaking out over a haircut? My mom always had a big problem with me cutting my hair and me like growing out my facial hair because pre-T I was quite hairy. I did have a little bit like of darker peach fuzz. I did have a noticeable mustache, not as noticeable as now, that's for sure. But I also had a little bit of noticeable chin fuzz. Again, not as noticeable as it is now. She just always has a problem with it. She's always said, oh, I dress too mannish. I'm a woman, so I should be dressing like a woman. Listen, as a kid, I was always a tomboy. I also used to always sit with my legs open, and my mom would always have a huge problem with that because, again, I was a lady. I must act like a lady. In the end, it comes down to the fact that my mom sees me as a super, super hardcore lesbian. Not saying there's anything wrong with them, it's just I'm not a lesbian. I'm a guy. So she also has this idea that society's never going to accept me for who I am, and that I'll lead a miserable life. I have not been happier since I moved out of that house, started hormones, and almost got a referral from my doctor. Now, my dad. Moving on to my dad. Basically, when I came out to my dad, I initially came out to him over text message. Oh, I was about 16, 17 at the time. I said, listen, this is something I've been thinking about a very long time. This is not something I thought about lightly. It's a serious step in my life, and I want you to see me as the son I always saw myself to be. A few days later, he replies saying, hey, is it cool if you want to go for coffee? I reply saying, sure. He says, okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He picks me up for coffee, we go to Tim Hortons, we drink some double-doubles, you know, that Canadian. Basically asks, so where did this come from? I said, well, I had a friend who introduced me to the idea of being transgender. That made sense to me. I did a little more research about it and figured, hey, that's kind of who I am. I connected the dots and it sounded like it was me. I am transgender. I related to everything he ever talked about, and it's just I never felt that way before, and it's just I've always been confused and frustrated with myself. It's just I never understood why until that moment. He didn't understand that, and he basically asked if I had a bad experience with men. I said, what, the fact that I've been cheated on a lot? He says yes, and I say, no, that's not why I'm transgender. I'm transgender because I was born that way. It's like being born deaf or blind. He tries to understand by asking a bunch of questions. Again, do I like women? Do I like men? I say I like both, and he's like, so where did this come from again? And I said, well, like I said, it's how you're born. You can't change who you are. He starts to cry, which was weird, because my father never cries. He was like a military man. Crying's not his thing. He continues to say he'll support me with whatever decision I make, and that he just wants me to be happy. Fuck yeah, my dad accepts me. That's fucking great. My mom doesn't, but hey, at least my dad does. That's 1 out of 2. I'm gonna take it. A few weeks later, he follows up with telling me that he doesn't want me to transition because he's gonna lose his sister in me, because apparently I look exactly like her, and she died when he was younger, so I could understand how that could be hard. But I'm not his sister. He shouldn't be putting that on me. I'm not gonna be someone he thinks I'm gonna be. It's just not gonna happen. I'm Nico, and it's that. It's at that. No questions. Not only does he not want me to transition, but we're at my cousin's house. My grandma's visiting from Chile, and he's not using the correct name I asked him to use, and he's not using the pronouns I asked him to use as well. He's still using she, and he's still using my birth name. Now, my grandma, that was a fun experience I never want to have again. As soon as I saw her, I said hi. She didn't look at me twice. She barely said hi to me, barely hugged me, barely kissed me. So at that point, I was kind of like, okay, I can feel when I'm not really wanted, so I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to play guitar like that awkward kid that has no friends. Yeah, nobody checked on me all night. At least my cousins are really accepting of it. They use the correct pronouns, they use the correct name, so that's pretty awesome. My brothers took them a little bit to adjust, but hey, they're using he, they're using Nico, and they're saying bro, man, dude. It's great. Although I do have to tell one of my brothers. I have 3, I've only told 2, and I need to tell 1 more. Don't know why I've been putting it off for so long. I can guarantee he knows. I'm just scared of what he's gonna say. He's always seemed like that homophobic brother. I don't think he's homophobic, it's just he's always come off to me like that, and it scares me. Now to wrap up this video, because again, I don't like running my videos too long. To wrap up, my father, he's an asshole. I don't talk to him for other reasons. And my mom, I don't see her accepting it anytime soon. I think she's just gonna look at me as that super hardcore lesbian daughter she's had, which is not even close to what I am, but alright. So with that, stay off the crack pipe, don't let him put it in your butt. Remember, don't drink and drive. Out of here, Miko Cola, signing off.